And regular viewers remember that last year I bought a secondhand New Holland Baler off of Craigslist. Thing self-destructed pretty much immediately. Complete disaster, and I decided to avoid having repeated that this year. I was going to buy another secondhand New Holland Baler off of Craigslist, and this is what I got. Now the reason why I did this is because I wanted a backup baler, and for the cost of a somewhat respectable, used, decent square baler, well, this wasn't that much more, and I figured the round bales are ideal because I guess I don't talk too much about my ultimate plans with my farming adventures, but I plan to produce a bunch of hay and use it in-house, and since I have to acquire some haying equipment and some land and some livestock, I figured I would acquire the haying equipment first because I can do some custom baling with this stuff and hopefully produce some hay and sell it while I'm trying to save up money to buy the other two things. So that's what we're doing. I leased some ground in the spring, and so we're gonna be taking this stuff out there this summer. So the main reason I wanted to move into producing round bales is they're much less labor intensive versus the squares, of course, and also because, like I said, it's leased ground, so like every single bale that I produce on that I have to haul off of it. So yeah, really excited about this. So here's the thing, I don't actually really know anything about round balers. I've certainly never run one or worked on one or whatever. So again, best possible thing you could do is buy an ancient one, well used off the internet. So I got on the Messick's website and looked this up. I think they, according to their chart, they made these until like around 2002 or something. So it's an older baler, but everybody says this series of New Holland round baler is great. And I mean, it's definitely the best one I've ever owned. And yeah, so, but in all seriousness though, I got the baler, I got the bale monitor, just some random odds and ends that came with this thing. And the reason why I did this, you guys know, like when I bought that dump trailer or my new tractor last summer, the reason I bought those two things new is because used cost almost as much as new. With round balers, not really the situation. This machine, or at least a modern equivalent of it, would cost somewhere around $35,000. This costs a very, very small fraction of that, and so I figured it was worth taking a chance on because I looked this thing over. All this time I did a little more research, figured out this is a very desirable machine to have, evidently. I figured out that a lot of people say these machines will run for like 30 to 60,000 bales, with things being replaced, of course, but that's a attainable life expectancy. So I'm told. I mean, I don't really have a freaking clue what I'm talking about, but this thing, according to the bale monitor, it only has about 6,700 bales. So I bought it with most of its life remaining for a very tiny fraction of what a new one would cost. So I figured that it was worth taking a chance on. Let's see, what's great about this thing is it's all here and it has not been farmer hacked. It's not held together with like bubble gum welds and whatnot. Well, it hasn't been in my shop yet, but as of right now, it's not. And like the wiring on it's not cobbled together and hacked and everything. Don't really know what the heck I'm looking at here. I bought owner's manuals on the internet, but it's not really here yet. So we are gonna go through this and replace and set up everything that we possibly can. Chains look decent. I don't really see any signs of abuse. There's a little bit of rust and everything. I believe what causes things like this is, just like hay sits in here and then it traps moisture and disintegrates, and that's, and that's just kind of the way that ends up. But I mean, what do you expect for a machine that's like almost 20 years old? Now, these machines, there's like some rollers in the front of them. I don't even know how the heck you get around to look at the... Oh, yeah. Yep. I just gotta make sure I fall off this thing and break as many bones as possible. Yeah, so there's these gears down in here. They're called sledge gears. This is evidently about really the only so-called problem, if you will, with this generation of baler. They don't last forever, especially in a sandy environment like the part of the state that this thing came from. And this one has had them replaced, so that's like a couple $1,000s worth of parts. And a super miserable job, so I'm told. Also, what a lot of people do is they weld these bars on here to make it easier for the machine to start a bale. And this one, as you can see, both here and I believe down under there, someone has already done that for me, which is great. Oh yeah, and it's a net wrap and twine machine. Guess I might as well take these lights off so we can actually open up the side of this. Yeah, so I realized we were gonna be home after dark, and I stopped by a tractor supply store and bought some of these magnetic lights. Now, one thing to note about these, make sure that if you use them, you know, you put it on so the left turn signal one is on the left side of the machine or the car you're towing or whatever. I say that because a buddy of mine used these once and did not do that, and he made it like all the way home before he realized it. But anyway, yeah, you know, I have referred to that store as t-shirts and cat food and similar things, but it sure was great to find one of those when I realized we were going to be home after dark with this thing, because that makes the baler, of course, 10 times more visible. Pulled it home with my truck. I was super nervous because this thing came from like, I don't know, 130 or 150 miles away, and you know, so if we lost a wheel or a wheel bearing or something, it's gonna be really bad. But we made it with no mechanical issues. There, all right, I gotta put these words later. All right, anyway, as I was saying, this machine, I thought this was a, well, I'll put it this way. So some round balers, you know, you got your bale and it'll tie it with twine, like regular baling twine. Others will use what's referred to as net wrap, which is this stuff. This machine actually does both, and I think this is really cool because the guy advertised this as a net wrap only baler, but when I got there, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, it has all the twine stuff. I don't know, it's under here somewhere. I don't really know what the heck I'm looking at. It's got all the twine stuff. It's just, you know, it's not really set up, and I don't think it's been used in a while, so you'd want to clean it up and everything. So that's great. That, I think, adds some value to this. I don't know if the 658 ever came you know, just as net wrap only. Some balers do, so there's normally 3 options: twine only, net wrap only, and both. I don't know what options were available on this, but either way, it's something I wasn't counting on, so I'm really happy to see it. Even comes with most of a roll of net wrap, which is great because I'm told it's like extra miserable to load these in here, but of course I've never done it. So I'm looking forward to that this summer. And it even has these lights. I guess we can rip these off now. It even has lights under here, so we can use the tractor's flashers and turn signals and everything with the plug, and I'm told they work. But of course I threw some bags over them before we hit the road because of course, you know, it's not gonna work behind my truck because it's a different plug. But yeah, we got that. New sledge gears. The guy said he replaced a bunch of bearings and teeth in that pickup as well. I don't really know anything about round balers. You know, this is how I get myself into these situations, but it really does seem straight and like it hasn't been abused. And like I said, it's all here, it's complete, it's through a small part of its projected life, and it's a fraction the cost of new. So even if it needs some odds and ends, which I know it will, hopefully that's gonna be all right. Now, one lesson I did learn, a lot of people say you can kind of tell what kind of life a baler's lived just by looking at the paint on it, and this isn't always true, but if we look on the inside, you can see that's just a tiny bit deeper red than this here. I don't know how it's gonna look on camera, but it looks like this thing has been stored indoors for most of its life, because this is far less than whatever it is, 18 years of exposure to Texas sun or whatever. Yeah, I got that thing for the bale monitor, and yeah, just like more chains and stuff that I need to figure out what the heck these things do. Now, one thing that is a very small concern is I believe these are the original belts actually, and some of the places where they're laced together, it's gonna be really fun if I drop my camera in here. Some of the places where it's laced together appear, that one actually looks pretty good. At least a couple of them though, they look like they're kind of busting out of the side, so I'm either gonna have to learn how to like relace these or whatever, and then whatever that is kind of rusty and crusty, so I should probably try to replaceify that. But, I mean, like I said, it's pretty straight, it's all here. You know, there's like more stuff up in here. And I'm really looking forward to this. So I guess this is just sort of a random little rambly video. I gotta figure out how you're actually supposed to operate one of these things. I gotta replace some odds and ends, like these awesome hillbilly hubcaps here. However, you know, I figured that I was really concerned about losing a wheel or whatever when we left, so what I did is I took the entire wheel assembly off the square baler, because I think it's the same rim these use. Took that with me. I also planned to repack the wheel bearings in this thing if needed. Luckily it was not needed, but I took a couple cans of brake clean and a bunch of paper towels and a couple tubes of grease and some gloves and stuff and some wrenches just in case. But what we did, we hooked up to this thing, drove to the end of the guy's road, like to the first turn of, I don't know, 9 or 10 miles or something, and then stopped, and I reached back around here, and this hub was just cool as a cucumber, so I figured we'd be fine. These wheels, I don't think they're original. You know, a little bit of cracking. We exposed some cracking pulling this home at like 6 hours at about 35 miles an hour. But these wheels stay right on them, don't go over 30 miles an hour. This is the thing, everybody has an opinion on this. I'm told some dealership guys, when they deliver new balers like this, they pull them 40, 50 miles an hour and it's fine. But of course, those are, you know, pretty much brand new tires. These are a little questionable and I didn't dare do that. So I set my cruise control to like 34 or 36 or somewhere around there. And just took the back roads home and made it in pretty good shape. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the baler itself, so I'm super, super happy about that. Pulling something like this hours coming home, you know, to me it seems like the kind of thing where either it's perfectly fine or it's just a complete and total disaster. How the heck does this thing work? I couldn't figure this out at the guy's place. It's like a little wheel in there, so it's just always the simplest. Yeah, that's that. I listened to it run. Guy hooked it up to a tractor and everything. It was a great person to do business with. Really enjoyed the transaction. No weird noises. Thing vibrates up and down a little bit, but I think that's probably mostly normal-ish. And I guess all we gotta do is wait for my manuals to show up, and then I'll figure out how exactly the heck this thing works. You know, the guy said the knife that cuts that net wrap is kind of like dull and rusty and stuff, so we got to clean that up. Needs at least one hydraulic hose, that sort of thing. But like I said, should have most of its life left. It's all here, it's straight, it hasn't been hillbilly hacked, and so hopefully if we just spend a little bit of time getting it set up, it'll hopefully be a functional-ish baler. So it's just my random vlog thing of the day. Oh no, I only have one hand. Ah! Yeah, I just sort of committed to filming the second-rate video at this scene. All right. Okay, well, wind this down, then close it. But whatever the case, thanks for watching, guys. Random video, but new piece of equipment, and I'm really excited about this. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more. I will see you next time. Oh yeah.